I gotta run through a couple more things. Let's pick up the pace a little bit. So let's jump to I'll give them that. They tried, but let's see if their efforts were misguided or misdirected. So we're gonna jump to Dynamite. We're on October 2nd, this past Wednesday. It's Sunday night as we speak, and this was title versus title. The AEW World title and the Continental Championship title. Okada versus Bryan Danielson, the main event. And they had a significant overrun. So this was like...
I thought it would never end.
They were going to give it... So, okay, so for this whole angle today, it's in the description below, all of it, all the segments. There was a Danielson promo, the match, and then after the match when Okada gives everybody the middle finger, which you'll see in a second. But all of it is 37 minutes and 4 seconds. So, yeah, a long match and long... So, but Tony Khan thought this is what the people want. They want to see Danielson and Okada go Broadway, I guess, or almost, or whatever. So, anyways, not going to go through the match, obviously, but I'll show what happened at the end. So Moxley's stable with Claudio and Pac. They show up, which was interesting because I guess Moxley's got the next title shot, so they don't want Danielson to lose that title. So I thought, okay, that's kind of good storyline-wise. And then Danielson kind of rolled him up, and Okada's shocked, and Okada gives him the Rainmaker afterwards like a heel that he is. And then he goes to the other heels that kind of distracted him, gives Claudio the middle finger, gives Pac the middle finger, and walks off. So I thought that was an interesting interaction between two heel factions. He just gave him the middle finger and angrily left. But he's like, well, what can I do? It's over. So there you go. So for this angle, just the match, Okada and Danielson. So that was the angle that all three of us reviewed. And we all gave it and Orange Cassidy half thumbs up. So I guess none of us were too impressed with it. I don't know if anyone's got comments on this match before we move on to the post-match.
I have comments.
Okay, then Robert,
go first,
you go ahead then. Yes, you go first.
Oh, man. Okay. So then I think the way this match was supposed to play out is, I think, if the match goes over 20 minutes or something like that.
That's right.
Yes. The Continental title was only on the line for the first 20 minutes because those are the Continental title rules.
Okay, so that was the stipulation, right? Well, you wouldn't think that if you were watching how they worked the first 20 minutes. It was so slow. I didn't get it, right?
Okay. Good point. Good analysis.
So, yeah, that made absolutely no sense. Especially the way Okada uses like walking around really slow, taking his time, attacking Danielson. What's funny is after the 20 minutes went by, then it picked up. The pace picked up, and then the match to me started becoming more of what I expected from the two of them. Right? I don't know what went on in the first 20 minutes, but it wasn't until after the first 20 minutes where it's like, okay, this is the Okada and Danielson that I expected. I don't know why they decided to work it that way, where they didn't move with a sense of urgency. Maybe they were, I don't know. They knew how.
All right. Well, listen, Robert. Let me interrupt you.
Okay.
Let's just the big elephant in the room. The match is Okada and Danielson out of nowhere. They booked this match like 2 nights before on Twitter. Like Tony Khan was probably like in his couch saying, you know what, I'm gonna do Okada and Danielson, and he posted on Twitter. And it's like, okay, like, dude, and then it's an out of nowhere match, a cold match. They're not feuding. Are you excited to see Okada and Danielson? Like, are you that much? I mean, you'd be the mark out of the three of us for this match.
I get that, but if the stipulation, right? So the stipulation that was added, the way they worked the match, you wouldn't think that was the stipulation.
Yeah, so the stipulation bothered. So you're saying this could have been good, but they didn't do it well. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I mean, I think the ending to me was the most interesting part, with Moxley's stable coming out and kind of being the distraction. And, that was the only interesting thing. So that's why I gave it a half thumbs up. I didn't care for the match at all. I don't care to see a long Danielson-Okada match. But, Vlad, you want to give any comments before we move on to the Afterbirth here?
Yeah, I'll try to be quick. I know every time I say that, it doesn't happen. I'm sorry.
It's all right, man. Whatever you gotta say, get it off your chest.
Yeah, no. Okay, so I agree with Robert completely that the first part of the match seemed like it was just dragging, and I kept looking at like how much is left. And was like, my God, there's still 20 minutes. This is insane. I kept forwarding. It just wouldn't end. This whole thing would not end. And yes, it did pick up. Eventually, they did start wrestling, but at that point, I was already out of it, dude. I was like, I gotta get to bed, man. I can't keep up with this. This is some Mark booking, anyways. Why am I even watching
Mark
this?
booking.
I don't even. Yeah, it really is.
I don't know. I think he was going for some kind of like he thought this would blow the ratings a little bit somehow, but I don't think anyone cares about this. He's just not on the same wavelength as the fans in this regard.
No, there's only there are people that care about this, but they're so minute. There's like maybe like okay, let's say there's 100% of wrestling fans. There's maybe like 10, maybe even let's say 15% of wrestling fans care about.
When was this match a thing, Robert? Like when would Danielson and Okada like have been a good match?
It would just be like a dream match. It's just
like in 2017 maybe or something like that. I mean that.
Yeah, I mean at that point they're both much closer to their prime.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the problem with this. Like Okada is past his prime. He's not the same Okada, but they're booking him like every match he has is really important, and it's just not anymore. So I don't know. This is an issue.
No, that's a shame. It is a shame. But I already, my thoughts on Okada. That I don't even have to say anymore.
But the middle finger thing, I will say yes. I love that at the end when he gave everyone the middle finger.
It's not so much the middle finger. It is the face he makes. Is really what makes it. It's not so much because anybody can flick somebody off, but the face he makes, even I have to admit, is fucking hilarious.
All right. Well, I got to move on to the Afterbirth real quick. So the Afterbirth was the Moxley stable came in and they were gonna kick Danielson's ass. And the big question from the past few weeks has been, is Wheeler Yuta going to stay with his Blackpool Combat Club buddies or side with Bryan Danielson? And he is currently trios champions with Pac and Claudio. So Yuta does come out, and then there's like a weird scuffle. There's a moment where Moxley looks at him, and they don't really want to hit Yuta. Like they get into a battle, but they make sure they don't hit him. They kind of just push him off, and they powder out. So there's a weird thing where they're still trying to get Yuta on their side. And then Yuta gets on the mic, and he's like, well, if you're going to get to him, you got to go through me, and that's it. Yuta and Danielson hug it out. So I guess for the moment, Yuta's on Danielson's side. So that was the angle for this night. So I consider that another separate angle, 8 minutes and 34 seconds, 4 segments. I mean, Danielson had a promo, and there was also a promo for Moxley's group earlier in the night in the parking lot, which I skipped. But all that's in the description if you guys want to look at it. I don't have time to play it here tonight. But for this segment, for this angle on this night, let's see what our reviews were. Vlad and Robert actually gave this a thumbs up with this whole thing, okay? And I gave it a half thumbs up. I don't know. I thought it was the weaker segment. I mean, this whole thing with Moxley stable has been mysterious and interesting, and I've been giving it good ratings the past few weeks. But for this one in particular, I don't know. It all seemed weird to me, and I don't know. It just didn't feel right. There's something weird about it with Yuta, and maybe he's gonna turn on Danielson. I don't know.
Yes, obviously. I'm already.
Yes.
I'm calling him 100%.
Are you calling it? Okay.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
Okay. Well, well, there you go. So, if anyone's got any comments on this,
my only comment, that's Vlad. You're right. There is something weird. The fact that Wheeler Yuta is an angle with top guys. That's what's weird about it. You got it, Ken. You nailed it, brother. You are the man. That's the analysis that we're
maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Wheeler Yuta working with top guys is weird.
I don't know what they were going for. I mean, Excalibur did mention that nobody put their hands on Wheeler. Like, nobody hit him, or maybe they didn't want to hit him, or maybe they still kind of want to try to convince him. They don't want to beat him up. So that was that. But I just didn't think the angle was so hot for this night. That's why I only gave it a half thumbs up. But Robert, anything you want to say before I move on to our last angle of the day?
Yeah, just a couple things. I I actually really like the opening segment promo from Moxley and Claudio, and well, Marina was speaking I think a different language. I don't know what she was
Moldovan
but
or something.
I think she was speaking Moldovan, which is a little bit like Russian, so I kind of understood a little bit of it.
So I actually really dug that opening promo. I thought that was really cool. And then
all right.
And then in the end, when they were restraining Bryan Danielson, I forgot exactly what Moxley said, but he said something. Well, basically,
Should we hit play?
Reason. Sure. There's like a reason for him doing all this.
Your simple-minded, blueberry-picking little brain. None of this is about me. None of this is what I wanted. I'm fighting for something much bigger than myself. Everything I'm going to do is because I have to, because no one else will. No one else can. If any of this was about me, I'd have put you out of your misery years ago.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, so
you're right. There was something interesting.
Yeah, that's intriguing because there's still a mystery element to this that we're not like completely sure about. So.
Okay. All right. Well, then there you go. Good. That was a good pickup right there. That was interesting. Well, let's see what happens next week. Join the Malapert Smark Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, and we will be covering this angle as it comes. Even if it is a popcorn fart, we're going to have to discuss what happened.
Yeah.